Hello everyone, this is Katrina McHyde on Tim McHyde's YouTube channel. This is another post of On the Narrow Path, how we get to learn how to be on the narrow path that Father talks about being on. That is difficult, to be different than the world and to grow up to be God-like, Christ-like, Yeshua-like. That's what our whole goal is in this life. That is the main goal, and they are, God-like and Christ-like, are all about love. So that's what we're working on, learning how to put love into our lives every single day, how to do that. You know, because we hear that we should be more loving. We hear that we should get over things and we should overcome our human nature and things, but trying to get the how-tos and actually how to do it, it can be difficult. People tell you all the time what not to do or what to do, but you don't really understand how it functions towards helping you to become more loving. So that's the whole goal for these vlog posts, is to show in everyday life, you know, my life situations that I go through myself, things that I've learned, that I'm in the middle of learning. You know, most everything that I share with you, I've had to learn because I needed it, which means I've had issues like everyone else. So that's how I do it. And I share it with you, what's worked for me, what I'm in the process of struggling with, and what may work for you. So I have some comments, which I'm just loving the comments that are coming up on the YouTube channel. So thank you for them. I'm going to read one here that is commenting on the last vlog post I did, number 62, on it's only human to feel this way. We talk about in that one about how we're always saying, well, it's only human when we're upset about something that most everyone would be upset about. We'll go, well, it's only human. Or, you know, we have a reaction to something, anger or whatever, and we say it's only human, and how we're not supposed to be it's only human. We're supposed to go from it's only human to going to God-like and Christ-like. So that was a wrap-up of a very long post that I did yesterday, and I got a comment here because I had poked a lot. I was surprised. I poked a lot on anger issues, and I was wondering, I don't know why I'm poking on this. It was just something that came up. So when I was making, I was going, I guess someone needs to hear it. I don't know. So I got this post from one of the viewers that says, the way you deliver his message is pin poking my big heart about anger. So it got some emotional stuff going for this person. And it says, it is the false accusation that gets on my nerves. I hate every kind of false accusations and it angers me. Yeah, false accusations. Being accused of anything, whether it's false or whether it's true, can be really hard because we feel misunderstood when we're falsely accused, or when we are accused and we are guilty, it's still putting a spotlight on us. So that can be a really scary area to have any accusation, whether it's true or false, or even some true and some false. It's definitely true. And the only way that I know how to deal with those accusations is to put in Father's hands, Jehovah's hands, your reputation, that, you know, you may be despised and lied about, like even the Messiah was, and to put it in his and just wait patiently on him to clear up your name if your name needs to be cleared up. That's a really hard one. That one scares me too. I get that. And I have to breathe on that and go back to exactly that mind thinking to get out of that fear myself when those things come up. So that might be helpful for you. And I definitely wasn't trying in my video. I'm not sure why this came up for them by watching the video, that number 62, but definitely I'm not trying to accuse anyone of anything. I am trying to encourage you to look at things that maybe you've placed on the shelf and haven't dealt with and thought, well, I'll get to later, I don't know what to do with, so I've just got to put it on the shelf, and you've gotten busy with other things. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that today, actually. I have something planned to help bring home that point and maybe be able to help you get those things off the shelf that you've been putting on the shelf. She goes on to say that she doesn't go to bed angry, which is really great. That is great. Going to bed angry is a bad idea. So learn how to put everything in Father's hands that you feel angry about or that you feel out of control about. Just before you go to bed, or as soon as possible is even better than just before bed. As soon as you start getting angry with something or feel out of control with something, learn how to breathe in that moment. Take 10 seconds and just breathe and say, Father, I want to give this to you. I know you're going to help me with it. I don't like it. I hate it. I feel out of control, but you're in control and you're going to help me. And go more into at least that you'll help, and that'll break up some of that energy instead of going to bed, because it really does ruin your sleep and your dreams and your health to not do that. So that's really good. After listening to your long talk, and it was a long talk, I don't know why it was so long, but it was. I realized how difficult it must be for Mr. Tim McKay to get mad at you. Actually, yeah, Tim is not the type. He doesn't have the personality that gets mad at a lot of things. He'll get mad at things that don't go his way. But typically he doesn't get mad at me. And actually, I had this question come up on a questionnaire that I was working on that asked, what do you get angry about? And I had to go down to Tim, because I had thought about it for a while, and I had to go down to Tim and ask him, what do I it was actually chronically get angry about. So it was like a chronic issue that I get angry about chronically. And I had to go downstairs and ask him, do I get chronically angry about something? Or at someone? And he had to think too. I actually, more than getting angry, I usually just get sulky or depressed because I can't get through something, or something doesn't feel good. In the past, I've done that, and now I just go into prayer. I still have my moments. I do get angry when something doesn't work and I feel out of control. I can get angry at things at times, but I take my own medicine. When I get in those areas, I slow down and I say, okay, God, I need your help. Obviously, I'm out of control. I don't have the right answers. I don't have the right power. I don't have whatever to take care of the situation. And I've learned how to do that. That's why I share the stuff that I do, because it helps to feel better, feel lighter, and to walk cleaner and more relaxed and feel like you're not alone. So he doesn't get all that angry at me, but he does get angry at things that are out of his control as well. So thank you for those comments. Keep bringing them in. I actually do read them, even if it takes me a while to respond to them. Sometimes it takes me a month to respond to them, just to have time to slow down to do them. And trying to keep my priorities in order, like everyone else with a busy life. We all know what a busy life is like. So I'm going to share about busy lives here now, and how it looks. So right now in my life, many of you know that I'm holding down a job, like many of you, and things are busy. And of course I have my family and everything else. So things get, there are things that I don't get to, like everyone else. And so, the vlog post that I did, number 63, I misquoted last time. I said it was 62, but it's actually 63, called It's Only Human to Feel This Way, How Those Are Dangerous Words. I wanted to come back to that and give you an idea maybe of a different angle of what I'm trying to say, more simply and hopefully shorter. So many times when we get busy, especially if we're believers, things that come after us are like trying to be too busy, or distractions of all sorts, right? So, and then they get piled up all over the place. So I'm going to give you kind of an example of what that might look like here soon. But I'm going to tie it into scripture of what I'm trying to say. So those things, well, you know what? Let's go through that. Let's just say I'm about to show you the giants in our lives, right? The giants that we face every day in our lives, and what we put those giants on the shelf because we don't know what to do with them or how to overcome them. So this was a little thing that I set up here in my house to show you a little bit, I think, what it's like for many of us, if not most of us, or if not. Speaking of giants, I just ran out of storage space on my phone. It's something that I've been working on for actually a month, trying to figure out how to delete photos and delete enough stuff to have enough room in order to make my posts. It's been one of those giants that I've been slaying at for a long time, trying to figure out how to create enough storage. So see, there are giants, and I know it'll work out. I finally figured out one program actually that was taking a lot of my data, and I was able to empty it out, and I think I'll have a lot more room than I had in the past. So I'm thankful. I finally figured it out, I think, and it came to a head right now. So it's a giant that finally, you know, I've been working at it. I have been trying. I haven't just kept it on the shelf. I've been consciously trying to figure out how to do it, but sometimes I don't know how to work things as well. I'm not real technical, and Tim's been busy too, so he hasn't been able to help me with those things. So now we're back. So see those giants, if you just keep at them and keep working at them, then you'll slay them. So that is kind of like something that happened in real time right in the middle of this. Okay, that seems to be normal. I am going to show you what we do with certain things. Now, well, I'm going to walk around here and things will be really messy. Well, not really messy. Actually, it's been a lot worse than this. I actually got some cleaning in here. But I'm going to show you, I have this box here. I'm going to show you here. You see this box that I have? It is a box of things to get to. It's a box that I'm just not sure what to do with, you know, things that I have to take time to figure out if I need to file them or throw them out or where I should put it and find a place for it. So that's what happens. And so usually these type of things, important things get buried in life like this. You know, you just don't know what to do with it. So there's important things as well as non-important things that get piled up in here while we just try to survive, while we try to just feed our families, soothe ourselves, and deal with things that are screaming at us more. And these boxes end up not screaming at us. But as you can see, what happens is that we end up putting things in here that don't that we end up forgetting, or we just don't know what to do with. So we just put it in the box or on the shelf. And so some things that might get put on the box or on the shelf would be low. See, it looks backwards. It doesn't work. Anyway, this one says low self-esteem issues. Low self-image issues. So things of low self-image, we don't know what to do with them, and so we just decide to go ahead and put them in a box and say, well, God will help me with them sooner or later. There may be parenting or parent issues that come up. That's possible. We put things on the shelves, right? With a bunch of other stuff that we have in places, you know, like anger issues. I was talking about that last time. Anger issues that you just don't know what to do. You're frustrated and there's something that you can't overcome. And so you just put it away somewhere and you allow it just to continue to try to control your life. You might have no time to pray issues and study issues, and you can't just figure it out, and it's bringing you down. You might be sitting here, you know, wanting to watch TV, too much TV or too many video games issues, right? And yet you don't know how to get yourself going because you're so tired, and you need this in order to feel happy and to calm down to go to sleep at night. Sound familiar? And you just don't know how to stop the rat race. And then this is a pile. This is I'm going to show you my own pile of things that I don't know what to do with, or that I just don't get to. So there's here is in this corner, you'll see I have a ton of boxes here, and I've got a bunch of stuff in this corner of things that I need to take care of, but I don't get to it. It's stuff that I just don't get to it. So you can see here that I put that we pile in the middle of this, addiction issues or relative or friend issues that we just don't quite get to because we have all this other stuff to take care of. So what is my point? My point is that many times we put those things off that we think that we can't overcome or control, and we conveniently just say, well, we'll get the answer someday, and then we forget about it, and then we go on to other things and distractions. And I'm saying that we really don't have time to do that anymore. Those issues that I brought up, and you can go back and review those issues, some of those issues, as well as there's plenty of other issues that I've brought up, are actually the things that we have to focus on and fight. They are our giants. And they are the things that help us to build the characteristics of God and the courage to keep going forward with things that we don't know how to do or what to do with them exactly, but to not make it convenient to just live with, to actually put it at the top of priorities, because those type of issues are actually the what we're supposed to overcome on spiritual overcoming, to be more godlike, to have more wisdom, to have a stronger connection to God, where God comes in and helps out. It's not about us trying to fix the problems on our own, but to include him in it, to learn in the areas where you are out of control how to believe that he will help you, that he will come in and do things for you. So this is really something that's really important to me, because many times we're left feeling guilty or accused with these things, and we don't feel like we can get anywhere. So I want to give you a way to be able to not only tell you we don't have time to put these things off and keep them on the shelf or in the boxes any longer, is to give you just some simple things to consider to help you get unstuck in that area. Okay, so number one, make it your priority. Make it, as you know, there's a priority to us every day of eating food. We love eating food. So I'm saying, with the same priority that you have of eating food, make it a priority that you're going to do something with these issues that you've been putting off today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And the way that you do it is simple prayer is where you start. Just even 2 minutes a day of just breathing and saying, Father, I've got this thing. I don't have the answer to it. I am open to the answer. Please teach me the answer of how to deal with this problem. And then when he gives you an answer, whether you like the answer or not, start adding in what you get. So for instance, if someone says, well, the way to deal with too much TV is not allow yourself, even if you're tired, to turn on that TV set for 5 minutes. You have to do 5 minutes of praying or make a phone call, or 5 minutes of doing some kind of spiritual work and focusing on that and looking at the issue for 5 minutes, and then you can turn the TV set on, right? And then you keep that commitment, and you work on saying, Father, I need help with this. I've got a problem. I have a problem, and I want to get over it, and I'm making my first step. And I need to get stronger in this area. I need your help, and I need ideas. So this is what it looks like. When we talk in the scriptures about giants, of course, everyone knows about David and Goliath's story. The David and Goliath story, starting in 1 Samuel chapter 17. There was a whole army of a group of people called the Philistines, and they had a warrior that was a giant. Right? One of the huge giants, big, huge giant. And he and the armies were trying to come against the Israelites during that time. King Saul was in power then. And David, as you read the story here, there was 40 days that, the mighty warriors, the Israelite warriors, strong, valiant men, the strongest valiant men in the nation were there to fight this battle, and all of them did not have the courage that they were going to win the battle, which is really win this war, which is really interesting, because God had told them to take over the land, and that God was going to give it to them, and that they needed to face the giants and to kill the giants. They needed to face certain groups that were not going to go God's way and cleanse the land. They were told to do that. And so for them to not have courage to do this is kind of an interesting thing. And David comes to the front lines. He comes in order to check on his brothers. He was sent by his father. He was going back and forth between tending his father's flocks and doing what his father said, to come back to the front lines of the battle to visit his brothers and to give them food, and also give the commanders food from his father. he's checking on the war, and as he's doing that, he finds everyone hiding from fighting this giant that's defying the armies of Israel. So, you know, we have a whole world. We live in a fallen world. And in that fallen world, the children of God are trying to be defied by everything, you know, by people who are satanic, or even people that mean well but don't even know they're being used. Things come against us, you know, accidents happen, or all kinds of things try to come against us to stop us, but we come against ourselves as well, because we lose courage and we lose heart. So all these people, all these mighty, mighty warriors that are trained for warfare, that know that they're supposed to do this battle, including King Saul himself, are scared and saying, okay, King Saul says, if anyone will go into battle and fight this Philistine, this big, the Philistines and this giant Goliath, I will give them one of my daughters to wed. I will give them riches, and their whole family will be exempt from taxes forever. That's how desperate he was for somebody to go out, King Saul, for someone to go out and fight. And David had 3 brothers that were warriors here, as well, that he was ministering, 3 of them that he was visiting. And Jesse's 3 eldest sons had followed Saul to the war, and their names were Eliab, the firstborn, Abinadab, the next, and Shammah, the third. David was the youngest of 8, right? And he was coming to check on them. And when he was there, and he saw this for 40 days, 40 days, they were like backed up, listening to the Goliath tell him to bring out somebody for him to fight. They were all like retreating, hiding. They didn't go forward. And David saw all this, and he heard someone say, from the story here, he heard someone talk about what King Saul would give the man who confronted Goliath and killed him. And the deal was this. Goliath was saying, okay, if I die, then the Philistines are under servitude to you. But if your man dies, then all of Israel has to serve the Philistines. So that the stakes seemed very, very high, and no one felt the courage to do anything in those stakes, not even believing that the God that was with them would give them the victory. No one thought that way at all. David was being a weirdo. He was being different than everyone else. He wasn't stuck on it's only natural, you know, it's only human to feel this way. He wasn't retreating. He was thinking different, and his brother didn't like it. When he started asking and making sure that he understood what King Saul was offering, the men that were standing with him said, what will be done for the man who kills the Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Just who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? So he understood what God was calling them to do. Do you understand your calling? You are the army of God. You can defy the giants in your life. These giants that I've mentioned around the house, addictions and other things, they're just giants. And they're huge, and you can't overcome them alone. You have to get inspiration. But the point is not to retreat, not to put it on the shelf, and not to not look at it, but to make it a main point and encourage, keep fighting, keep facing it, keep doing the best you can to find the way to go forward. And find the faith of how God has shown up for you in the past. You're alive today because of God. We all know that. I say, yeah, we know that. But do you know it? I mean, do you tell stories? Do you tell your testimony of what God has done for you so far to get you to where you're at right now? So David did exactly that. He testified. He said here, okay, first of all, his elder brother listened as he was speaking, as David was speaking to the men, and became angry with David. Why did you come down here? He asked. Who did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness. I know your arrogance and your evil heart. You came down here to see the battle. In other words, you're in it just for the glory of seeing the battle and being excited about a TV show, of the battle being a TV show. It's your arrogance that's doing it. He says, what have I done now? Protested David. It was just a question. Then he turned from those beside him to others in front of him and asked about the offer. And the people gave him the same answer as before, right? So even his own brothers were putting him down for being different, for standing out, for being able to figure out, size up the situation and see if he could be maybe potentially able to help with the problem, the capital P problem, big, huge P, giant problem. Giant problem. You get it? Yeah. That was cute. Okay. So it was reported back to Saul, and he was brought before King Saul at that time. And David's response to King Saul was very interesting. He testified of how God had shown up for him already. So starting from 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 34, David answered Saul, your servant has been tending his father's sheep. Whenever a lion or a bear came and carried off a lamb from the flock, now think about it. Think about facing a lion or a bear. You know how savage, I mean, most of us have watched National Geographic to some degree. Okay, so David's fought a lion and a bear, okay? That's pretty significant. And whenever a lion or bear came and carried off a lamb from the flock, I went after it, struck it down, and rescued the lamb from its mouth. Rescued the lamb from its mouth. Okay, if it reared up against me, in other words, if it came after me, I would grab it by its fur, strike it down, and kill it. So David felt confident, even though he wasn't a warrior in the armies. He felt confident that God would show up, and he showed courage during that time to go ahead and, instead of save his own life, he tried to save the life of the lamb. How many of us would stop and try to save the life of a lamb over our own lives and face a lion and a bear? You see? But David, for whatever reason with his heart, he chose courage. He chose to face the dangers of life. He chose to face the things that maybe he didn't have the full answers to, and he had to fight it anyway. And he exercised that muscle. And that's a really important part. So there are some things somewhere in your past, if you need to ask Father to help remind you and reveal to you when you have done something in courage that you were afraid of. The little courageous things that you've done, the tiny courageous things, will lead to more courage if you remember and testify of God showing up during those times when you decided to have courage, right? So your servant has killed lions and bears. This uncircumcised Philistine, who's bigger than a lion and a bear, a lot bigger, will be like one of them, for he has defied the armies of the living God. So he knew he was defying the armies of the living God. Everything, all these giants are defying you. And you are a child of the living God. It's the same thing. It really is the same thing. Then David said, the Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. So, see, he worked up his faith of believing in it. And that's what I'm saying is many times we put things on the shelf and we don't work up our faith anymore. We don't face it and say it needs to be overcome. God, I don't have the wisdom, but you promise to give wisdom to everyone who asks and without ridiculing us for asking for it. God, I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to hold on to it the most that I can. So in my own life, for instance, I've had chronic health issues and it's getting better, but it's been years of working at it. But I have never put it down. And at times, I might pause for a while and retreat for a while because I have no answers of going forward. I don't have the right money. I don't have the right circumstances or whatever. But I never gave up hope. I never gave up and just put it away forever. Same with Zachary. Zachary, many of you know, has autism, a seizure disorder. And it's hard. It's hard. I'm not going to give up. You know, even when the battle or the wars go for a long time, I have seen God show up in amazing ways in my life, that I know that he's here with us. And even though I don't know the full answers to see his full healing, which I know he's going to have, I'm not going to stop. What is working in Zachary is defying a child of the Most High. These things that are happening to us, that we have inside, these giants that we face that we don't know even within ourselves, living within us, of not knowing how to overcome addictions, how to overcome anger, how to deal with a difficult family member or neighbor or boss. All these things are not things to, even if they carry on for long periods of time, are not something to run away from and to put on a shelf and keep there forever. Put it on a prayer list, literally, and ask God for help. And then once you've asked God for help, he always wants to help you with those things, because he's into reconciliation. He's into healing. He's into peace. He's into those things. And he wants you to be into them as well. Once you've prayed and put it on the list to pray for help on it, then go into praise and thank him that he is bringing the answers to you for you to work out, and do it every day on those things. So now it's time to reevaluate. It's time to evaluate where you're spending your time. And the things that you've been putting off, don't put them off any longer. Get them on a piece of paper, the things that you've been putting off. Start praying on them. Start giving them a little bit of time, a little bit of research, just even a little bit. I know you're tired in the middle of the war. I know that Satan wants to keep you tired, or you have distractions or things that you like to do other than look at these giants, because giants are no fun to look at. They're just not. They make us feel weak. They make us feel puny. They make us feel like we're losers. They make us feel like we'll never get anywhere, and they nag at us for years, and it's a heavy weight. But the truth is, until we face it with God's strength, with his wisdom and help, day after day, until he slowly shows us how to overcome the giants, they're overcoming us. And that is not what God said. God said we are the victors. But just because we are the victors over our giants, over our Goliaths, does not mean we don't have to fight. And I'm telling you, the fight is every day. It's in prayer, it's in thought. It's not putting on the shelf. It's being willing to look at those things and not think that working one more hour or playing one more game is going to free you. We're talking about spiritual salvation. What I mean by that is we're talking about spiritual growth, things that will make us God-like, things with faith and courage, and fighting for hope, for love, for reconciliation, for healing, for these things. This is what God does. That's what he did through the Messiah, by sending the Messiah, his firstborn son, to us. It was fighting for those things, and we have to learn to fight for the same things. The other things that can kill us, the Goliaths that can kill us, or the things that can kill us, are we more worried about dying, or are we more worried about living and living well until we die? And living well till we die is facing everything that intimidates us, and face it with courage of saying, God is with me, I can still do it, and with faith. God has been there for me in the past. He will be here with me, even with this bigger problem, from the lions and bears to the giants. He will show up, and walk in that way, and walk forward, and do not keep retreating. Don't keep hiding behind the rocks. Don't keep saying you can't face them. God has equipped you unto every good work. He has equipped you to go forward. So that's what I'm encouraging us to do, and to take the sleep off of you, to take, we've got time, we can rest a little bit longer spiritually, and we don't have to get to those things that you should do. You don't have that time any longer. You never did have that time. You have one life. You don't know how long it's going to be. So I know that you can do this. I know, because, our Messiah did it, and he said you could do it. And we have witnesses, a cloud of witnesses, as Paul calls it, in Hebrews, that has gone before us, that's shown God's faithfulness. And we have a future, we have prophecy showing what God plans on doing with his children, what Jehovah plans on doing with his children. And we have the obvious one of the Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, who came and showed that everything that looks desperate, his whole life that looked desperate, and he was even killed and died, which everybody thought was him being defeated, rose on the third day and showed things that look like they're defeating you. If you are being changed into the image and to be godlike, it doesn't matter who can kill the flesh. The spirit will live on, and you will live in the spirit, glorified, and be more godlike by facing your giants. All right, I hope this has encouraged you. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to leave messages. I'll keep looking at them and try to encourage you as I go along and encourage myself. It helps me to talk about the testimonies of myself and what I go through. And God shows up for me. He shows up for everybody. Ask Father to help you. Father, I bless them. I ask for salve for their eyes so that they can see as you can see, Father, that they'll be able to reach into the areas that they did work on faith in whatever situation that can help them to understand how to build up their faith right now to face the capital P problems that they have, the capital G giants that they're facing right now, Father, and to help them not put it off any longer, but be able to bring it to the front and bring them to the full fruits of the Spirit that come from fighting the good fight that you've called us to fight, Father. I praise you, Father, because you are going to finish the work that you have started in us, and I'm asking that we allow you to, and that we allow you to by working up our courage, working up our faith, working up our love, and that's what we're fighting for, love. Reconciliation, being kind to those who are not kind to us, being different than the world. That's what it is. And Father, I just thank you that you are that way, that you love the world, even when the world has hated you, and you've shown through your Messiah. And I know that he is our example, and we choose to walk in that way as well. I thank you in Yeshua's name. Leave messages here, or you can come to escapeallthesethings.com. And we have plenty of free things there. And you can also give us emails through that site. And there's also a subscribe button there. If you'd like to get more messages like this to encourage you unto good works, then you're welcome to click the subscribe button and the little bell beside it. I always talk about that because that helps it ring. Not ring, but give you a notification when we've put something new up. And we look forward to hearing from you and overcoming together. We're together. We're one family. We're one under the Messiah. And your successes are our successes. And whatever you're struggling with is our struggle. And so let's do this together as one team, as one warrior to warrior. Let's go for it. We can do it. We can make it to the end. We will run this race with endurance together. And I bless you all in Yeshua's name. Have a great evening or day or morning or wherever you're at.